Hello, my friends. Welcome to video 2 in this series of why you feel crummy and what to do about it. So I'm out here in my kitchen right now because we are crate training a puppy, and she's a Labradoodle and very social. So if I'm in my office, she'll be barking in the background the whole time. So here we go. Here's to adjusting. Okay, so we are talking about the very first stage where you're not really sure what's going on. You just know that you feel crummy, right? So that's where we're at. That is where we begin, when we just feel crummy and we don't really know why. That's where all of us begin when we're trying to help ourselves, is at this stage where we haven't yet identified what's going on. We just know something isn't right. It doesn't feel good in our body, in our mind, in our feelings, our emotions. It just doesn't feel right. We feel unsettled. We feel frustrated. We don't know why. So this is what we do. In order to get to the next stage, what is important is to see that we do have negative stuff going on. We have negative stuff going on inside of us, instead of just trying to ignore it, which is what a lot of people do because they're busy, right? We're busy people. We live in a busy society. So sometimes we just try to ignore it. We just push through. We don't feel like we have time to take care of ourselves. And what the big lie around that is that it actually doesn't take a lot of time to take care of ourselves. It just takes a little bit of intention to do it. And that intention does require a little bit of energy. So, but what you get in saved energy in the long run is so worth that little bit of energy that it takes to manage what is going on inside of you. So the first thing that you do in order to identify, to know what's going on inside of you, is to just get out a pad of paper. So I've got my pad of paper right here. And actually, I just did this exercise that I'm going to lead you through. I just did this just this morning. So where is it? It's right there. So it's fresh for me to teach this right now because I just did it. So first, you list, in order to, what you're going to do is you're going to reconnect with yourself. So possibly you've never done something like this, or perhaps you do this regularly, and this is just another time that you're going to do it. And maybe you'll do it a little bit differently because you're doing it this way instead. So what I invite you to do is grab your notebook and a pen and list out all of the ailments that you're feeling. Everything that hurts in your body or is uncomfortable. Like this morning, I was chilled. It's freezing here in Idaho right now. And actually it's chilled all over the country, I think. But so chilled, I felt chilled. I kind of felt a little bit of a tummy ache. I felt nervous about the roads because I'm just about to leave in a little while. And some nervousness around money, some nervousness. Gosh, what are some of the other ones that I wrote down? Some worries around how use of my time. Feeling cluttered around the kitchen dishes that aren't done. If I could turn this around and show you the dishes that are stacked, like there's not a ton of them, but there's just enough to bother you that weren't done, that were supposed to be done last night by some certain children and weren't. And I haven't had a chance to do them. So they're still there. Concerned about potty training our puppy, house training, crate training our puppy. The tightening in my shoulders, the tenderness that I'm feeling in my right heel. You just go through and write down all of the concerns, the worries, just Just fill them all in, all of the concerns, the worries, the nervousness that you feel, maybe on edge. Just define it. It doesn't hurt to define it. Sometimes our brain says, well, I don't want to go there. I don't want to, I'm ignoring it for a reason. I don't want to feel that way. Well, you don't necessarily have to stay there. It's actually on the other side of it, it actually feels really good. So when you start to see how things correlate with each other. So you're just writing all of these things down. You're writing down the frustration, the worry, the concern, and a little bit can add up. A little bit of worry here, a little bit of worry there. They might not be huge things, or you might have one overarching thing that's huge. You might have a relationship that is in shambles, or you feel like it's going downhill, or you might have a money issue that is staring you in the face and you don't know what you're going to do about it. We're actually going to coach on that in my program in the upcoming months. It might be frustrations over time, or how your brain thinks. If you deal with things like I do with ADHD type of tendencies, lack of focus, maybe just hard time making decisions, things like that. That might be worrisome. That might be a frustration. So whatever the frustrations, the worries, the concerns, write them all out. The ailments, how you feel in your body. If you feel tightness in your lungs, in your chest, do you feel a heavy heart? Do you feel tension in your forehead or in your temples? Do you feel an ache in the back of your head, the cerebellum that's where your balance is? Do you have achy? Are you achy there? Do you suffer from motion sickness? Are there, that's all related to balance, by the way, about life balance, physical balance, lots of balance. Are you feeling like tightness in your shoulders or your shoulder blades? Do you have tightness in your neck? Neck and shoulders is very common. How are you feeling in your throat? Is your throat tight, or is it loose and relaxed? And sometimes that relates with how well you're able to express yourself or be seen or heard. How are you feeling in your legs, in your feet? Your feet are a big one. In your pelvis, in your back. How is your low back doing? Your low back is all around survival, around safety, security, root causes, root needs, those basic needs that we have. What's going on in your body? So list all of those things out. Trying to give you some examples here. Okay. Now look at what also one more thing. If you have any thoughts that are just keep recurring, they just cycle around and around and around. And they haven't had any kind of resolution yet. Like it's something that you're not sure what your next step is. You're not sure how to move forward. So it just keeps going around and around. It just keeps coming back into your mind. Definitely write those down. Definitely. Those are taking up a lot of mind space, a lot of brain space. Okay. Now look at each of them and see if you can circle some that lump together. Sometimes you'll see some that relate with each other as you go. Sometimes as you're writing, and it's interesting to see as you're writing with your notebook, how many things start to lump together. And you see things more when you're writing them, when you have to pinpoint and nail that down. You start to see correlations between things. A lot of times the stresses will correlate to physical ailments in your body. So if you've had a lot of illness lately or a suppressed immune system, it might be because you had a lot of stress on top of some kind of physical weakness. A lot of our physical ailments actually start with an imbalance, which is actually caused by the internal environment that we have. And our internal environment is governed by our thoughts. Our thoughts create our internal environment. If you ever read the book, Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, he talks about the science behind that. It's really amazing. We create our internal environment. Our internal environment is caused by the thoughts that we have. This creates our personal reality every day. So we can have an awesome home. We can have an awesome family and still feel really crummy inside and feel maybe bad about that. But we can feel really crummy inside because our internal environment it looks like this. Even if we have great circumstances, or if we have worrisome circumstances or really harsh circumstances, somebody could look like this, or they could be all cleaned out. The circumstance doesn't matter as much as your internal environment, your internal circumstance. And the awesome thing is you're in charge of this. Like, you can control what's in here. So, and that's what I'm going to show you. Okay. Anything else from my notes here? Okay. So as you see, this is the last point in this video. As you write these things down that you're noticing in your mind, in your heart, your feelings, and in your body, and as you start to, if you start to see correlations, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't see those correlations right away. Sometimes they don't look correlated at all. When I first started my list, they all looked like very separate things. And as I kept writing, and asked the question, are these things correlated? I thought, oh my gosh, these three are correlated, and these two are correlated, and this one is correlated with this one down here. The awesome thing about correlations when you find them is that when you resolve and dissolve one of those worries or concerns, which I'm going to show you how to do in this series, then it helps to start resolving the other ones that that are connected to it. Sometimes you have a mother circumstance, a mother stress. It's huge, and it's got little tentacles coming off of it. And all of these worries are caused by this one big one. And when you take out this big one, oh my gosh, the amazing space that it opens up, because you're able to, like, all of these other ones went with it. And now you're like, whoa, I feel empty. Like, there is no concern. What? I'm used to having concern. It's not there anymore. So that happens. So first step, just get out a pad of paper and write down your physical ailments, mental ailments, feeling ailments, all of those feelings, frustrations, worries, concerns, stressors. And we'll see you in the next video. And don't go to the next video till you do that. Because I'm going to show you what to do with that list. So do that first. Just take 2 minutes. That's all I took on mine. Just take 2 minutes. It's worth it. All right. See you in the next one.